Prince Andrew further embroiled in scandal this morning, with detectives looking into claims he asked his police protection officer to investigate Virginia Giuffre. The Mail on Sunday publishing emails they say are from Andrew to an aide of the late Queen Elizabeth. I have given her date of birth and social security number for investigation with XXX, the on-duty personal protection officer. The paper saying these emails come from the Epstein files and that the prince was asking for Giuffre to be looked into before a photo of them together was to be published. Andrew's friendship with Epstein seemingly lasting longer than Andrews claimed. Recently released emails appearing to show that the prince wrote to Epstein in 2011 saying, "We'll play together soon," months after he said he'd cut off all contact. Just days ago, the disgraced royal and his wife Sarah Ferguson announcing they'd be giving up their Duke and Duchess titles. In a statement, Andrew saying, "The continued accusations about me distract from the work of His Majesty and the royal family." The King and Prince William taking action after those accusations resurfaced with the publication of Virginia Giuffre's memoir, in which she claims the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein trafficked her to have sex with Andrew when she was 17.
He knows exactly what he's done.
Virginia Giuffre took her own life last year, but her book will be released posthumously tomorrow. In it, she describes 3 alleged sexual encounters with the prince, calling Andrew entitled, describing the moment they first met when Andrew guessed her age, 17. Andrew has always denied the accusations.
I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady.
Telling the BBC in 2019...
She was very specific about that night. She described dancing with you and you profusely sweating, and that she went on to have bath, possibly...
There's a slight problem with the sweating because I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time, because I had suffered what I would describe as an overdose of adrenaline in the Falklands War when I was shot at, and it was almost impossible for me to sweat.
He stepped back from royal duties shortly after this interview, and although he denied any wrongdoing, he paid Giuffre millions to settle her claims in 2022. He was also stripped of his military roles and forbidden to call himself a Royal Highness.
No comment from Buckingham Palace, but aides are bracing themselves for more potential fallout with the release of Virginia Giuffre's memoir. That happens tomorrow. And some politicians here are now calling for a vote in Parliament to completely strip the prince of all of his titles. George.
OK, and thanks. Let's bring in our royal contributor, Robert Jobson. OK, Robert, we learned the book for Virginia Giuffre's book is coming out tomorrow. They were trying to get ahead of it?
I think that's exactly what's happened, George. The book was coming out posthumously because, of course, she took her own life. It's coming out. They're trying to contain the situation, to try and get in their retaliation first, if you like, ahead of the King going to the Vatican on an important visit. The reality is, though, it seems to have backfired, really, because ultimately now people are calling for him. Now he is holding his titles in abeyance. He's not using them. They're asking him to be stripped of being a prince altogether. He may not have been sweating, he said before, but he's certainly sweating now.
No question about that. This has been going on for 15 years. Why did it take so long?
Well, there's been continual denials on behalf of the Prince Andrew, and the fact is he's maintained his complete innocence in the whole situation. But now it's come out that he's clearly lied, because the dates involved say that he had no contact after 2010 with Epstein. He did, so he's clearly lying, and that means it calls into question any of the other claims that he has made. I think the King had to act. The King had to do something, but unfortunately it doesn't really seem an awful lot. The bottom line is people here see him as dragging the monarchy down and dragging the brand of the monarchy down, and ultimately this is a dreadful situation that doesn't seem to be going away. What
more can Parliament do exactly?
Well, Parliament have the role and the right to take away the title, the Duke of York, and they can do that. The King and the Palace have simply just held the title in abeyance, so he's been said you can't use the title, and he won't use the title. But most people, George, think of him as Prince Andrew anyway, so it doesn't really mean that much. What could the King do? He could take away Royal Lodge, I suppose, if he really had a push, but the reality there is that Andrew has a 75-year lease and millions of pounds that were left to him by the Queen after she died. So he's going nowhere. I think the reality is, though, people want something more, much more than just him not using his titles. I think if it's pushed and it goes to Parliament, they would strip him of his title. But even that said, he's not actually having any reaction to what's actually happened, which is a crime.
What do you make of these reports that Prince William is even more upset than King Charles?
There's no question that look, at the end of the day, George, Charles is his brother, so it's harder for him to be so harsh. For William, it's his uncle, and he's also bringing the whole of the monarchy and the future of the monarchy into disrepute. And William, of course, has got to look to the future. The king, who is living with cancer, has to try to maintain the status quo now. But William is talking about he's going to be the king for many, many years to come, and doesn't want this scandal and that just dragging on. You know, he's the father of a young daughter, and these sort of allegations are pretty awful. We saw him at a funeral quite recently of the Duchess of Kent, and when Prince Andrew stood next to Prince William, he didn't look at all comfortable.
Robert Jobson, thanks for